just happened?
What just happened?
What just happened?
What just happened?
What the f happened?
What just happened? I'm Dan. That's Julia. And today we're talking Servant Season 4, Episode 7, called Myth. And Jules, I never bought George's story for a second. Not 1 second. We'll get into it. Sorry for the late upload today. It's just been a crazy day. But we're here and we're ready to go. So if you like the What Just Happened series, it would mean the world to us if you could subscribe.
Hey, you forgot something.
I forgot to put it in the video. He actually said it for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my dead son's birthday party. He just said it so matter-of-factly, too. Dead
And
son.
like loud, like very loud.
Yeah, loud enough that anybody could have heard it.
Oh, can you just leave me alone? I'm trying to save your son's birthday party.
My dead son's birthday party.
Whatever. The kids.
So things start off. Julian's in bed with Leanne. He gets out of bed. And did you notice who that was in the middle of the street that was standing next to the crater?
There
I couldn't
were
really make it out.
several of them.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of them. Yeah, I assume that they're just Lannisters.
Okay. And they were just staring up into her window. Like, that's a
Yeah,
totally normal thing
Makes
to
sense. Yeah, totally
Yeah.
normal. And what did I tell you? I told you Philly wasn't going to fix that crater.
do. Oh,
They
yeah.
just put up some cones,
Mhm.
and they were like, "You'll be fine.
Just evacuate or
Just-
deal with it. Yeah.
We'll just put up some cones. Nobody's gonna step over these cones and fall into
And
this hole."
that's literally what they did. And maybe some caution tape thrown in there too, for good
You're
measure.
right. They won't even do that.
Yeah. So Julian starts wandering around the house. Really cool how it was a little scary. Like, I was outside watching on my phone and my back was to the yard. And I got so creeped out that I had to change my seat and face the yard. I don't know. I don't trust this right now. It was dark out. So Julian sees this book, and we'll come to find out that Sean was doing some research with this book, but Julian opens it up, and on the front cover, it says significant form, symbol and allegory in Western art. And the first page that Julian opens to says fall from grace, which made me immediately think fallen angels. There you go. So we got a lot of hints, maybe a confirmation that theory is true. Maybe we'll touch on it. Most likely. Julian gets to a page that says Lucifer. Kind of freaks him out. He closes the book. We'll get back to that book. Him and Sean have a conversation about it later. So then something that you called last week, Jules, you said that what's Dorothy do? She's an investigative journalist. She's not going to let this just be. She's going to look into it.
Of course.
We interviewed her. She'd had to have signed a release form, right?
Got a name?
Yeah. Leanne Grayson.
And honestly, I don't think you need to be a journalist to do that. If I found out something wild like that, I would absolutely look into it.
Yeah. And I really like the choices they made in editing and,
Yeah.
and filming, because she was doing her research on her own while George was giving them info. But she's like, I don't
I
need
love
you.
that, yeah.
I'll figure it out on my own. Really cool. And Dorothy's making a strong comeback.
Yeah, and she's using like verified sources too,
Mhm.
and they're just
Ye-
going on Uncle George's word. So
Yeah. And she's using her connections. She's looking into the beauty pageant. And then we get a scene with Julian and Leanne. Their relationship was definitely tested this episode. You can tell Julian's already checked out. Leanne's listening to the same artist that she always listens to.
Don't you ever listen to anything else?
I'll try to find that person's name and put it in right here, but it's always the same artist. She's always listened to it. She asks him to dance. Kind of a strange scene. Julian confronts her. And he's like, we need to talk about what happened at the party. Like, what did you do to Bev? Like, he wants to know what happened. Like, how did you do that? What's going on? I want some answers. And she says,
Relax. You're safe when you're with me.
What does that even mean?
and then she bites him and says, you talk too much. What's
yeah,
that
that
all
was
about?
weird. That was weird.
Yeah.
I have no idea what she was aiming for there.
Yeah. It's like maybe like a control type of thing. Like, you're mine.
It has to
and-
be, right? I don't.
Yeah. But you could see in
Like,
his face, like,
I
we
guess.
already- good.
I was gonna say, I guess she wanted him to know that she was not all bark and no bite, you know?
Yeah. It's true, literally. So we already kind of saw earlier in the episode with the way he like left her in bed and was walking around, but then you get more confirmation with the look on his face in this scene. Like, he's done with her. He's done.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He got out of that spell. So a lot of people think that she resurrected Julian and he actually died from that drug overdose a couple seasons ago. So how's that gonna come back
Which I
into
wouldn't be
play?
surprised by at
Me
all.
either. Yeah. So leave your theories about that below. And then Sean has a nice scene where he's just hanging out with Jericho. Jericho's playing with blocks and he's watching one of his clips just go viral. It's closing in on 3 million views. And he's like, oh, that's pretty cool.
That has gone viral.
But I feel like he's also over that where he used to love it.
He's got like more pressing things to worry about. Like, yeah, that's cool to go viral, but like your family might be getting like attacked by a demon. So like maybe we won't worry about that right now.
So Julian walks in, slams the book down. He wants to know what Sean knows about this book. He figures out that Sean was the one doing research about it. Sean basically says,
Leanne, she's the common factor. When she's angry, things go bad. When she's happy, things go well. And it all remains intact as long as we stay loyal to her.
as long as they stay loyal to her. That's the key word there. Keep her happy. And go back to earlier in the season, Leanne and Sean were talking. That was like the moment where Sean kind of said he's done with this and he wants his family back. And she was like, well, it's too late. You made your choice already.
Yeah.
It's really cool seeing all this play out. They're doing such a good job with planting little seeds, and then they're actually going back and it's all paying off.
Yeah.
So I love this season. We've had a couple negative comments where people are just done with the show and they want it to wrap up, which, you know, to each their own, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I love this
I
season.
personally don't see it. Like I am having a great time. I love the suspense.
Me too. I just think they've done such a good job with paying things off. And that's why I'm confident that they're going to end it in a satisfying way, because they're already doing that. They're closing out small bits as we progress through the season. They're giving us,
we're getting close to the end. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're giving us like satisfying reveals. So it's cool. It's really cool how we're starting to get some answers. And then this episode, they try to pull one over on you, and like they gave you two possible scenarios, and it's like up to you. But obviously, the end of this episode kind of confirms one of them. So we'll get to it.
Yeah.
These words that were exchanged made a lot of people happy, because at this moment, they were like, my theory was right. Now it might be right. It probably is right, but it still might not be. It could be a misdirect. Sean says there's a term for all this.
I've been searching, and there's a term for something like that. The Faustian bargain.
Sean's making theories now.
What if she died? What if she came back as something? Fallen angel.
So Sean agrees with the fallen angel theories, guys. Really cool. So tip your cap. A couple people said that a while ago, a year and a half ago. So really nice job if you were one of those people. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's confirmed, but there's a good chance it's true. I would say there's a really good chance it's true, especially with everything that Uncle George talks about that we'll get to. And then you get a really neat scene with Leanne and Dorothy. Leanne notices that Dorothy is working on something, working on a project. And Leanne doesn't necessarily like that because she didn't approve this. She didn't approve Dorothy to be snooping around and looking into stuff. Really cool. I like this scene. And I like how both actors portrayed the scene, because Leanne did a great job in acting like, oh, what are you doing? And Dorothy did a great job in like, I know what you're trying to ask me, but I'm not going to give you that answer. Yeah, it was really cool. They were like playing chess. It was neat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They did like the I'm saying it without saying it kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one knows what we're talking about, but we know what we're saying.
We know. Yep. And then Dorothy tries to throw her off the scent by saying, oh, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. But Leanne, her response to this was like, well, that's a funny expression. That doesn't seem that hard to do. Find a needle in a haystack. I can do that in 2 seconds. Then Sean and Julian are literally talking about ways that they could kill her.
Think silver bullets could stop her? I mean, worst case.
Looking at this past episode where Julian ran to her safety because he thought she was in danger of being murdered. Now talking about silver bullets to kill her. Crazy. Like a 180 turn. And then Roscoe is just being a creep, which I felt bad for him this episode, man.
Oh, I know.
Bad for him. So Roscoe brings in Uncle George.
There's someone here to see you.
Someone who can answer all your questions.
Has a new look, and Julian's
Wait, stop.
sign is
I was
fantastic.
gonna say, I was just gonna bring that up. That was I literally screenshotted that so I could send it to you to put in this video.
So this dude and his makeovers, yeah. Even when he loses his voice, he's still got to have them slide.
Like
comments.
I could hear his voice saying it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was great.
Like, probably holding a bottle of wine, preferably.
Right.
Yeah. Uncle George looks at them and says,
It's time I told you the truth about Leanne Grayson.
they're in the apartment where Bev and Bobby were living. I guess we can call it the apartment, the addition to the house, whatever you want to call it. Dorothy's doing her own thing. She's on the phone. She's trying to get answers herself. And it's really neat how while George is starting to give them answers, Dorothy's getting answers and they line up. At this point, you know, what George is saying is true. Her family died in a fire. 3 family members died. Leanne's body was not found, but she was presumed dead, and she was 8 years old at the time.
Yeah.
Crazy. Really crazy. And I hope we get a concrete answer on how that fire started. Did Leanne have anything to do with it? Did her powers have anything to do with it? Dorothy finds out the same information. You know, 3 family members died. They didn't find the body. And it was in Wisconsin. So she's like, yep, that's Leanne. So really cool. Really cool how they filmed the scene at the same time. And
Yeah, I
had-
like that too.
Yeah. And you had, like I said, you had Dorothy figuring you had Dorothy doing it her own way and still getting the answers that she was looking for. So really cool. Dorothy has like a pep in her step now. I know she's still in a wheelchair.
Oh
and it's
yeah.
kinda messed up.
She's
for me to say
enjoying
that.
it. And I love that. I love seeing her like loving what she's doing again. Even
Yeah.
if it's, you know, maybe not like the best thing to research. Like you don't want to be researching that, but whatever.
No, exactly. Yeah. But she's like figuring it out, and you could tell she's willing to stop at nothing. Nothing will stop her from getting the answers that she's looking for. So really cool. And then this is when Uncle George's crock of shit starts, because he said,
I made the recent decision to leave the Church of the Lesser Saints.
BS. No, he didn't.
Yeah. As soon as he said that, I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, get out of here. What are you up to, Uncle George? But it worked. What he was trying to do worked because of what we'll talk about that happened at the end. So he tells them the story of how he first got with them. So Uncle George was trying to unalive himself, and he woke up in the hospital, and there's a woman there named May Markham, Aunt May, which is
Aunt
she's
May.
not dead. She has to make a comeback. Where's she been?
I don't know, but we've been waiting for her. Like I feel like I remember somebody, I think it was you, saying like you wanted to see her back in the story.
I want all of the ancillary characters to make an appearance in some way or another before
Yeah,
the season,
yeah.
before the series wraps up. That's like the best way to end it. Have it all come full circle.
Yeah, I'm thinking that they're hinting at that, or at least her coming back into the picture.
And I think she should. I think that would be a really neat aspect to the story. Like you said, like she's been gone a while. How's she gonna act? Maybe it's like, okay, all hands on deck. Get everybody
Yeah.
out here. Let's
Maybe
go.
she's working on something big to take Leanne down. Who knows?
Will we see the Hook Man, or does that person not exist? What
I'm
do you
gonna be
think?
so upset if the Hook Man is not real.
Me too. Because that was such a creepy story when Roscoe was telling that story. I'm like, who is this guy? Hookman, huh? Like,
Who
that got me
is
so
he?
excited. Yeah. So Uncle George goes on to say that Aunt May informed him that he actually did unalive himself. And he is now back as he's reborn as a servant of God.
And she told me I had died and been reborn a servant of God.
And that officially started their journey as an aunt and an uncle. And their job was to guide others that were going through the same thing until they stumbled upon Leanne Grayson. One Leanne Grayson.
She was the perfect candidate.
And he told her what somebody once told him, that she died. She died in that fire, and she came back as a servant of the Lord. But
We miscalculated how broken she was.
so they miscalculated it, and Leanne ultimately left the CLS, and she began to believe that she was becoming something else. And that's when Julian holds up the sign that says Satan 2.0. So it was really cool
I
choice.
love him, dude.
I know, really cool choice to take away his voice for temporary. What was it, a couple hours? But he did a lot of comedic moments with that notepad, so that was cool. I like that. And I think Servant handles this situation really well with having humor in really dark situations.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, they
I feel like,
balance it out really well.
because I feel like that could easily come off as forced or cheesy, and it doesn't.
But like without it, this would be a really, really heavy show.
Oh my God,
Like
good point. Yeah.
like there's a lot of like bad stuff that happens. So like I feel like they kind of have to have those comedic scenes.
Yeah, and honestly, without Julian, like he kind of carries a lot of that.
He does.
And then this is when Uncle George starts with his second crock of BS when he says,
Leanne is a confused, deranged, and completely ordinary girl.
No. No
Mhm.
way. Not a chance.
well, your reaction is kind of like Sean's reaction.
Yesterday at Jericho's birthday, the animals went insane. The woman nearly died. The way her face looked, I've never seen anything like it. How do you explain that?
He has a response for everything though.
He came prepared. The man came prepared because he
Yeah,
had
he really
an
did.
objective. He had an objective. He had to sell them. He had to sell the Turners on the fact that she doesn't have powers and she's not powerful and she's not going to hurt you. And everything is just a coincidence.
Yeah, but like, and it was for the most part, a lot of it was plausible.
I know. But you know what I immediately thought of when they were going through and he was giving explanations? Like the whole thing with Jericho, that part could be true. So everything that George was selling them, which is a crock of shit, not true. The one that I did buy and could be true, which I alluded to a little bit ago, was the one with Jericho, an explanation on the doll and Jericho, which
Yeah.
I'm still, by the way, I'm still on the side that Jericho is the doll and the doll is Jericho. They're one and the same. I'm going with that because Leanne dressed up as a doll for Halloween. And I love the doll theory and Mike Harlow. They're all
There's
dolls.
so many references. They're
Yeah.
all dolls. Every single
Yeah.
one of them are dolls.
Yeah. So there's just been, like you said, there's so many references that is what's really going on. But this is a nice other version that it could have just been an addict's kid. The addict died, had no other family, and she just kind of took the kid.
I will say that was a cool way to tie that in.
It was. Yeah.
I mean, not cool that, the mom OD'd, but like had to find a way to explain where Leanne got this baby from. And I think that was like a plausible way to do it.
It was. And it's like really believable. So I think that is the one that got the Turners to be like, oh, he's telling the truth. She's not powerful. She doesn't have powers. And they kind of just forget all the crazy stuff that's happened. He needed them to take away her power, to not let her run this house anymore. And that's what happened by the end of the episode. Like they kind of took back their house.
She is pissed about it.
Oh, she's not happy.
She had
happy.
a temper tantrum about it.
So Dorothy found out that Leanne had been visiting her, stalking her, whatever you want to say, one time a year on this anniversary. That is crazy because we've had people comment that they've been linked for a lot longer than Dorothy thinks. It's really cool to see confirmation. So that part is true. Actually might not be. See, that's what's so tough. Do you think
I would believe it though, and especially because they said that day is the day supposedly that her mom died. Which
Yes,
did you
yeah.
notice they said that she died 2 days after the fire?
Yeah, how does that make sense?
Did she
How does
go
that
to the
make sense?
hospital or did she
I
she
guess.
and Leanne make it out and then Leanne killed her?
Ooh, crazy. Yeah, because she didn't have a good relationship with her.
Right. And like
Ooh.
if people thought she died in the fire anyway.
I like that. Uncle George explains she no longer wanted to watch from the sidelines. She wanted to be in Dorothy's life. She was no longer happy with just observing. He explains that when Jericho died, she saw this as her window of opportunity. She just needed to find a baby. And that's what happened. So that's why it was really convincing with the way Uncle George played this up. And you could tell he was prepared. He came in there with a goal and he achieved that goal.
Yeah.
So Uncle George did a
But here's-
really nice job.
Here's my thing. This is my plot hole here in Uncle George's story. isn't it awfully convenient, the timing of her just finding a baby on the street?
Yes, you're right. Good point. Yeah. Like at the
Like,
exact time she needed a baby. Yeah.
right. Like,
And
never in
yeah.
her life she needed a baby until that moment, and she just
Right.
found one.
And it's like a perfect scenario that this
Yeah.
baby has no family, that no one's
Yeah.
gonna notice that it's just kidnapped. Like,
Like,
yeah,
oh, hey, like, let me pick up this stray cat. It's like, oh, there's a stray
yeah.
baby lying around. Let me just
So are
take
his
this one
stray
home with
baby
me.
line? So wait, are you on the side I'm on? That the doll and Jericho are the same?
I think so. Yeah.
I think that just what makes the most sense. And like go back to the promotional images from season 1. It was like all the doll and everything. So like
Yeah.
and like
The
that
doll
was
just
like
has such a big part in it, and I
it
just don't
does.
believe that it's as simple as her just switching them out.
Yeah, and that was like that was the hook to get me to watch the show. It was like, oh wait, this baby passes, and then the mom thinks the doll is the baby. Let me check this show out. Like that's all I knew about the show when I first started to watch it.
Right.
That was it.
Yeah.
So I hope that's a theory that I'm right on, because it just
Yeah.
I envision a scene where all the Turners have decided that she doesn't have powers and she can't do anything to hurt them, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, watch this," and then Jericho turns into a doll in front of their eyes. Like that would be
She does like and then they
yeah.
all turn into dolls.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
There's a thing. And a snap, and that's it.
Imagine they all turn into dolls just for like a couple seconds, and she turns them back, and then Julian just runs across. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Please don't do
Forgive me.
that again.
Yeah. Okay. Now this scene is what Uncle George wanted, the one we got at the end. So Leanne sits down at the table with everyone. Sean downplays going viral.
You must be so grateful.
Happens to a lot of people. It's not that special.
That's not true.
Actually, I'm thinking of canceling my contract.
I loved when she said, "You should be grateful,"
Oh
or
my
"I
God.
bet you're grateful," or something like that.
Yeah.
It was because she wanted him to be thankful for what she did for him.
Exactly. Because you go back a couple seasons ago when she told him, "Hey, you're gonna be a star." And it happened. So she's like proud of her creation, you know? And now he's acting like it's not a big deal and he doesn't want it anymore, which I truly believe him that he doesn't like he'd much rather
Yeah.
just have a normal life with his family than have this fame. I do believe him. But yeah, she's kind of seeing all of her, hard work, whatever you want to call it, just kind of unravel. So
Mm.
he says he might cancel his show. And she's like, "You can't do that." And Julian stands up for Sean. When has that ever happened? You know?
You can't do that.
He can do whatever he wants.
Crazy. He's like, he can do what he wants.
And the look he gave her, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, he was like,
Yeah. And
try me.
yeah, the look he gave her, because that gave them all, Uncle George gave them all the confidence to stand up for themselves, because
Mhm.
they wouldn't have done that had he not intervened. So this is what I think this
Yeah.
is what his plan was when he was like, I think the Turners might be willing to help, because he knew he was going to pull this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
And he's
Yeah.
like, it has to work. Not I hope it'll work. It has to work. So this is big. It's like taking the power away from the villain.
Yeah. And I think it was important to let them like fail a few times on their own
Mhm.
so that they'd be more susceptible to that story.
Yeah, you're right. And it's like they were susceptible to it, but also like they needed to hear that. They were
Yeah.
like, oh, she doesn't have powers. Cool. Because if they're going into like they were going into battle against her and thinking she has powers, and it never went well. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It always kind of blew up in their face. But now if they're just believing that was all just a coincidence, now they'll have the confidence to follow through with the
Yeah.
plan. So that's why
Which was a
Uncle
lot
George
of
did this.
coincidences. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah, too
I
many.
can see where he was going. Yeah, too many. Way too many.
But it's like they wanted to believe it, so they believed it. They
Yeah.
wanted that to be true. So really tactical by Uncle George this episode.
Oh,
Really
yeah.
tactical. So yeah, she's pissed. She stands up and she says,
You should all be very careful.
storms off, and they kind of all look at each other like, all right, what were we talking about? Like it didn't even bother them at
Yeah,
all.
right?
Isn't this nice? All of us dining together again.
But aren't you kind of surprised the house didn't take any damage during that scene?
Yeah.
I was
Yes.
expecting it to.
Yeah.
But maybe the next time the house gets any damage is when it's all going to come down. Because I feel
Could be.
like I was expecting it to happen, Jules, but at the same time, they have done that enough. They don't need to do that again. Like the next time that happens could be the last time it happens, is what I'm trying to say.
I think it might be. I mean, that house has taken a lot of structural damage thanks to Leanne.
Oh yeah, big time. And that's why I'm saying like they want to believe this story, because probably deep down it would take a lot more convincing, but they want to believe it so much that they're willing to look past everything and be like, oh,
Right.
cool.
Because it's
We're
just,
good.
there's too much weird shit.
Yeah, way too
But
much.
it's like, there's no way that the house like cracking like that is
Mhm.
not done by something supernatural.
Oh, and did you see Uncle
Not a
George
chance.
kind of like evade the questions he didn't want to answer? Like when they talked about the reporter
Yeah.
getting shot in the head, he was just kind of
Yeah.
like ducks. I'll duck that question. And he did a good job, yeah. But then we get the confirmation that Uncle George made all this up to, get this. This is what he wanted. He wanted them to take back control. So he is beating himself. He's whipping himself. He's saying,
Forgive your humble servant for his blasphemy. I have sinned with my lies.
but he ends by saying,
Please, give them the strength to bring the fallen one back to us.
fallen angel.
The
It's
fallen
confirmed.
one.
It's
Yeah.
confirmed.
Yeah.
Right? It's confirmed. Which is really cool. So, hey, hats off to all the people who called Fallen Angel a while ago. So I'm going to go ahead and say that one is definitely confirmed.
It sure seems like it. Now I wouldn't be surprised if there was some kind of twist on top of that. I still think that there will be a major twist coming, but I can't see why he'd say the fallen one if that's not what he meant.
I totally agree. So before I close this up, I just want to take a moment and thank you guys. And I know Jules and we've been texting each other about this. You've been so nice in the comments and
So great.
saying things that are like truly an honor to hear. So I put up a post on YouTube, which if you're subscribed, you'll see me put up these posts or like status updates on what we're doing and when we're recording. And sometimes I'll sneak in like, hey, if you want a question, this is how you get it answered. And if you reply to that, I know you're subscribed. I'm definitely going to answer that on the episode. So I put up that there was going to be a delay today, and I'm sorry for the hold. And Waltzing Matilda, which by the way, she gave us our first super chat, which blew our minds. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, seriously.
For real.
It's
That was
unbelievable.
one of the coolest things ever. When we make a Patreon, you're getting a free subscription to Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to hear it. Matilda, you're in for free. You gave us our first tip ever. You're in for free, which we're going to make one
Put her on
eventually.
the VIP list.
She said, take your time with the upload. It just gives us something to look forward to. Like, come on.
Oh.
That's so nice. So nice.
It's just so weird to have someone like waiting for something that we've created. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, we're just two buds that like talking about TV shows, and we're so happy that you guys like the What Just Happened series, and we love doing it. So we're going to keep
Yeah.
making it. So,
Grateful.
we're doing Yellow Jacket season 2 next. We're going to do Severance whenever they announce it. They haven't announced it
Yeah.
yet. We're going to do the after party, but that probably won't be What Just Happened. That'll be like who done it type of thing. We did it last year for season 1. Just search Scene Invaders the after party. We covered every episode, right? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. So that was more like a who done it thing. Because the way the after party is made is each episode is based on one person's recollection of events, which by the way, Jules, they're doing it the exact same way for season 2. The exact same way.
I really like that. I like
Yeah,
that style.
So do I. They're keeping that format. We'll do that who done it style. Like when that person has their episode, we'll analyze it and go through it. But if there's any show that is coming out soon that you're a big fan of, that you want Jules and I to cover, let us know. We'll do our best to do it. Sound good?
That's great to me.
All right, get your craziest theories. We have 3 episodes left. We are doing our live stream next week. I don't know when. So if we do it Thursday night, it'll be a couple hours before the episode's going to come out. So that could be a
Ooh,
perfect time to do it. So
I like that. I like
as
that
of right
idea.
now, expect Thursday. So if you want to call in, yeah, you can call in, or you can join the video and talk to Jules and I live. I'll just accept you and come on in. So
I can't wait.
yeah, make sure you're subscribed. We're going to talk about Servant all night on the live stream. So instead of doing a theory video this week, we're going to do a live stream. And we're only able to do a live stream because of you guys, because you watch our content, and now we're allowed to. We unlocked it, and we can do live streams now. So thank you so much for the support. This has been a great week for us at Scene Invaders, and we're just excited
Absolutely.
to keep going and making more and more content. Get crazy. Drop your theories. We got 3 episodes left, really 2 to make theories on, because the last one, we're going to have the answers. And of course, we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about it. And, you know, we'll look back at the series as a whole, but there's really only 2 left to make theories for. 2. So get crazy. Start predicting stuff. Let's go. All right. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you for the live stream next week. Subscribe. See ya.
Bye, guys.
The story here is nearly over.
Fuck you.